I've lived here in Orlando since 1991, and I keep learning new things. And I just learned that the word Orlando is an old Indian term, ancient Indian term that means road construction. The other day I saw a bumper sticker in a car. It says, "Honk if you love Jesus. Drive I-4 if you want to see him."
Amen to that.
Yeah. Well, that has nothing to do with what I'm going to do here, but I like to hear you laugh. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you laughed. I'm going to talk about DNA today. And I'm sure some of you have succumbed to those TV commercials and spit on a piece of cotton or something and put it in an envelope and send it off to find out if you're related to George Washington or somebody. It turns out you're actually a long-lost relative of Machine Gun Kelly or something like that. Anyway, interesting article in the paper, and I still get the newspaper. I'm older, old-fashioned. I like to hold the paper and read the news. So, article that came in the paper on Friday about a case that was that broke open and was solved after 34 years, a killing.
Yes.
Interesting. And basically, it was by a DNA match. Is in the summer of 1984, Pamela Carhane's body was found in an overgrown lot in unincorporated Sanford. The 25-year-old had just graduated from boot camp over here at the Naval Training Center just 2 days before they found her body. How sad. She had been beaten and strangled, and her white uniform lay inches from her body. Her killing was unsolved for 34 years. And on Thursday, the sheriff of Seminole County, Demings, announced an arrest in Carhane's killing. Using a public database, he said investigators matched DNA found on her body to Thomas Lewis Gardner, a 59-year-old dental hygienist in Jacksonville. I'm glad he didn't do teeth here. Gardner was arrested Wednesday in his apartment in Jacksonville. He was taken to the Seminole County Jail and held without bond. He was stationed at the Naval Training Center at the same time as the victim was, so they knew each other. For years, authorities had tested DNA found on Carhane's, but to no avail. But recent advancements allowed investigators to build a family tree that eventually led Gardner to being considered a suspect in the case. A spokesman for the sheriff's office and Gardner said Gardner's DNA was a match using the genealogy research database, but he didn't elaborate any further. DNA is a wonderful discovery. It's an interesting thing. It's all new science. It's saved a lot of people from off of death row and taken innocent people who have been falsely accused. But it's also interesting. It's helped us in our own history. It's helped us in health. I mean, you can find out if somebody way back only has 2 legs or 1 leg and it passed on from family to family, some kind of congenic thing. And it's helped us in justice. And so it's become very popular, to go to give somebody a gift for Christmas, somebody who has everything, give them a gift of an envelope and to spit on this, and then they come back. I don't know how long it takes. Some of you have done it. You don't have to tell me if you have. But anyway, and you can find out, supposedly, you get a little, one of these things, you get a little, leaf that says there's a contact, and then you thought you were Italian, but you're really Scottish, and Chinese and stuff like this. And so it's interesting, but I think it also can be a little nerve-wracking. Okay. God created us from dust, from the ground. Genesis 2:7 says, "Then the Lord formed man from the dust of the ground, and then from him became a living being." Just imagine, just from the dust of the ground, God can create this thing called chromosomes. Each one of us have cells, and each cell is a chromosome. And there's 46 chromosomes, 23 from the father and from the mother. And these are little twisty things that come together and list all the things and characteristics about us, our history, and each one of us are unique. We know that already, right, Johnny? We're all unique, but all our genetic patterns and things are unique that can be traced and put together. Just from the dust of the ground. What a miracle that God could set this up and get that working. I mean, nothing's impossible for God, but this is pretty close, isn't it? I mean, in terms of how he could do all that. So every human being has a unique DNA. So a DNA profile is checked against a database with other profiles, and you look for a match. So when you send this little thing in, computers will crunch through all these databases and things like this. And so do you know when you spit in the little thing, your DNA goes on a database. And these databases are getting bigger. And so, if somebody in your family or relative committed a crime, have them move quick, have them get out quick, because they'll find them now. Anyway, there's several companies doing this. The most popular are Ancestry DNA, which is $99. 23andMe DNA, Ancestry, and that's $99. But you can do 23andMe Health for $199. That means that they can do health history. Then there's Ancestry DNA for $109. MyHeritage, which is the cheapest, which I'd probably go with, for $75. And these databases keep growing. Now, I did a little research on the computer on this, and it's interesting. And I read a study about a person that took 9 different commercial DNA tests, and he got 6 different results. Because for $99, you're not going to get into any deep research, And $75, they're probably just going to put it to the side and make it up, And so I'd say, when you do this, don't get too excited. You don't know for sure what all this is about. But this is a real, true, powerful, wonderful science. And who knows, maybe somebody here is related to George Washington or Robert Lee, and you're going to have to change your name now.
I would bet I'm not.
Yeah. Well, you never know, John. You never know. All right. Anyway, something to think about as we look into this particular message, because Jesus actually spits in the dirt and gives his DNA to this blind person. So that's what we're going to look at. So let's stand together and sing the song. And I don't have a long sermon, so you're all going to get out